Hey, this is Ashley with the Gospel of Hope. We recently caught up with the talented group Flashbacks to talk about their inspiring new music project, God Code. Hey guys, welcome. Tell us how this incredible project came together.
All right, tonight we're talking about God Code. It's in the God Code. The name of the song is God Code. This was a song that is very special to me, and I'll just come right out and say that this song was recorded 3 days after my oldest nephew passed away at only 20 years old. He was within weeks of his 21st birthday, tragically passed away in a motorcycle accident. So long live my nephew Caleb. But leading up to this studio session, we had already had the session booked, and I wanted, I was really just kind of at the time numb to, we hadn't had a death in our family in years, so I couldn't really believe it. And so I just sort of thought about what the best thing would be to do. And so why not, honor him in that, and just kind of let that legacy be built through that, so that it won't be all lost. So that's kind of how this was recorded. I will get into how it all came about and all of that stuff, but let's just start talking about, Jay, if you want to kick us off talking about the group and how this whole quote flashbacks thing came together by way of, I don't know, over a long period of time, and maybe some vision here and there, but I just want to get your thoughts on how all that came to be.
No, I appreciate it, man. We start with you. You're the genius behind the music and the extraordinary songwriting. And I think that's exemplified on God Code. When people get a chance to hear these lyrics, obviously the melody is great, the beat, all that stuff people are gonna love. But when you just really break down the lyrics to God Code and you hear what you and Matthew are saying, I know that people will really be inspired to hear those encouraging words and know that it's not just you. Like, you have a special DNA that was specifically given to you by God. And we may feel down, these bodies may wear out, we may get tired mentally, physically, spiritually sometimes, but when we remember it's not about us, we're gonna break down, but it's in the God Code. God never breaks down, and he's ordering our steps even when we don't see it. And I think that's what people are gonna take away most. Like, man, our enemies want to see us fail. Yeah, we go through heartbreak. Yeah, it's tough sometimes, but God is inside of us, so we're gonna prevail no matter how hard it gets. It's in the God Code.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, you bring out the greatness of Matthew in this song as well. I got to be a part of the process, obviously. So seeing, coming into it kind of blind, and then just being able to watch it unfold was pretty special. Because I'm like, man, I've never heard Matthew do his thing in person. I'm wondering what you've written for him. How was that? I know how you write, I know how you sing, but to see a seamless transition of your writing with Matthew and then how he seamlessly just took it like it was his, it was like, whoa, this is different, man. This isn't just a regular song.
Yeah.
It came together pretty easily. So that was great to see as well.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I think Matthew is the first person that I've written for that's actually recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it was a bit like, I don't know, and then, at the time, he's, I think, 12 or 13, he was young. So I'm like, man, I don't know, this kid, singing my lyrics. And then I'm telling your pop, like, yo, I think I'm going to just have him do XYZ. He's like, no, just write whatever you gonna do, we'll figure it out. So I was like, all right, whatever. And so yeah, that was pretty cool to experience, especially when we were in the studio, because Matthew's demeanor is like, okay, yeah, so we're doing it again. And then he goes,
Then
he
turns
just
it
go,
on. Yeah, you just
yeah. So I'm like, oh, well, my job is, I don't really have to do much, so that was cool. If you can, then let's just we'll keep going. When you heard the music and, is I think, this was a song that how this came was it literally came in the middle of the night. Like what we were just talking about before we started recording this. Like I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard these two words, God code. And I was like, what is that? And I wrote it down and I just laid down. I went back to sleep. But the next morning I was trying to save that for, later. But that next morning I woke up and I was like, man, I got to figure out what this is. And if you do your research, it's based on some book that someone wrote, and it just basically talking about your DNA is coded with God's signature. I can't remember the exact letters, but it basically is spelling out Yahweh. And I thought like, well, that makes sense. If you're an artist, you would sign your name on the thing you paint or, whatever you create. So, okay, it's kind of in that. And then from there, it just kind of went. But so for me, this was a very challenging song to write. And I noticed when we were in the studio, I remember us trying to like figure out like, all right, who's gonna do what first? We really didn't have a plan. We just had the time booked. And I was like, yo, Jay, you want to kick us off? and of course, you just came out of the gate, with flying colors. Just, I think you did your track within 10 minutes. I think, it was like, some, maybe a tweak here and there. But I think the first take or so was the take that we hear on the track was the chick. Well, that was the take. And then you went back and did some of the ad libs and stuff. But talk about, specifically like your concept of the song and how you got from the concept to your verse.
Well, obviously when you first mentioned God code, you just talking about, man, I got this idea. So it was more so a concept. So I'm like, dang, it sounds nice. Whatever. I don't know what God code is, but it sounds good. And then when you further, when you start elaborating on it, I was like, oh man, this is amazing. Because once you hear something like that, now you want to run off the deep end with, well, wait a minute, like God's DNA is on my life. That's true. Like, because you know how important it is, like who your father is, your father's DNA, your mother's DNA. We see all it, we see our parents, people tell you all the time, oh, you look just like your daddy.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so spiritually, we want to look just like our father, and he wants us to look just like us. In fact, he's ordained that we look just like him. And when people see us, they see our Father, and by our good works, by us being a light, by us doing the righteous thing to do. And so again, once you went down that rabbit hole of explaining what God code is, it's like, man, this is some good stuff.
Yeah,
this is some good stuff. So I was just excited, obviously, number one, to be a part of a song that you wrote and produced.
Yeah, I really, not to cut you off, but I really like how you came on the track. Like you were the first person to record, so there's literally no lyrics prior to your verse. I think maybe we had done the chorus, maybe, but I think it was just background music. And I was like, hey, the cue starts right here. And so, you kind of do your transition. And the cool thing, I was listening to this on the way here, was there's like this organ sound that's kind of going on in the background with the beat going, and it's almost like you're like orating, or like you're I'm gonna ride. I mean, not like Martin Luther King, but it's like you're speaking, and like the organ is just sort of complimenting what you're saying. And I thought, whether that was like intentional or if it was just coincidence, it really captures like the idea of this whole God code and like it being in you and just kind of permeating out.
Oh yeah, exactly. The music is gonna dictate, what you do, what you say. So I'll give you all the credit on that. It was inspiring music, inspiring title, inspiring revelation in terms of understanding God code. Because I really want people to be inspired by, you know, the track. I know they will be, but to really understand if you really take it to heart and make it a part of your everyday life, you won't be as stressed out about certain things. It's like Steph Curry is the greatest shooter to ever shoot, right? But his father is Dale Curry. He got that from his father's DNA. His brother Seth Curry is a heck of a shooter. They get it from their father's DNA. So if we just trust God a little bit, our potential is we could be Steph Curry. Like, we can be the great, if we just trust his DNA a little bit, that's how far we can go. And so when we plant these seeds of knowing, oh, you know, it's not just me. I may feel like it sometimes. I may feel like God has abandoned me, but his DNA is not going anywhere. He sealed you and stamped you for life. So when Jesus makes a statement like, I'll never leave you nor forsake you, that's a guarantee.
That's good. That's powerful. And you know, that as the musician, sort of producer, whatever, sometimes I get so thick into the weeds, I don't think about the outcome of it. I'm just trying to, you know, make the beats line up or whatever. But you know, as an audience member or a listener, you know, for them to get that, knowing that sort of internal thing, is that's something that you can walk away from the song feeling empowered, you know. And that's something that, you know, I could only dream of. I saw this interview with I think it was Oprah, and she had Pharrell Williams on the show, and she was just playing clips of videos of people interacting with his song Happy, and it brought him to tears. He just seen like hundreds and hundreds of videos from people all over the world, and I'm like, yo, if I could have anything as a singer, songwriter, producer, whatever, it would be something like that, to make someone else's life better. So to hear you say that that's pretty astounding. And so, you know, I would just, you know, want to wrap up with like, was there a moment, or could you talk about a moment for you in the whole process of whether it's writing your lyrics and your verse, or whether you were in the studio or just listening to the track? Because for a long time this was just an audio track. It was just the background music. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, we didn't have the like verse 1 and pre-chorus and all. I don't think we had that whenever I sent you the music. It was just like, yo, can you be on this track? Yeah. Do about this many bars. So what was like your moment of magic to say, okay, I'm gonna say this?
Well, I'll do 2 different points.
Okay.
To answer that particular question. Anytime you send me something, first of all, anytime you send me something, I'm trying to kill the track, no matter what it is. I want people to walk away saying I did my job, and then some. I killed the track. So obviously, flow, lyrics, want that to be on point. But when you give that kind of subject matter, it's like, dang, you can't just be elementary with it. You gotta, if he's coming with God code and that's the basis of this song, I already knew whatever you was writing was gonna be on point. So of course the excitement for me was like, oh man, you know, I know Jabri coming with it. Let me make sure I come with. I can't be half stepping when we go record this. I want my part to be booming. But the second part is, when I knew that we had an amazing song, I was sitting in the booth with Matthew, because I think Matthew went after me, so I hadn't heard any of the melodies of the song per se, or how it's gonna go, but y'all had worked on it.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting in the booth with Matthew, and he's singing his part, but I can't hear the music. And so, you know, he does his takes or whatever, and I'm like, you know, cool, whatever, still pretty normal, like, you know, just regular process of recording. But then when I hear the playback with the music, and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And when people hear the song, they'll know what I'm talking about. The way you and Matthew go back and forth seamlessly, as I said before, effortlessly almost. It's an amazing track, for real.
Yeah, so that was kind of, you know, I had a couple moments One was, well, I actually had about 3 different moments of, whoa, this is gonna be something like significant. The first was when I went down to see Tommy. We do the little, basically the vocal prep track to balance everything and all that. And we finished doing all this, and he was like, all right, yeah, let's play it back. We're just sitting in there. And now there's no lyrics yet. I didn't even have a melody yet. And we're just playing the track. And man, the room was just like bumping. Like it was like the windows were vibrating a little bit, and then he's like, oh man, I'm gonna turn this down because it was during business hours. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, that was one moment. And then because I had this track for so long, I remember adding, some little sounds to it. And I remember I sent your dad, after we did the Tommy thing, I sent your dad just the instrumental. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna send you the thing, and just hit me back later, whatever. He called me immediately. He was like, hey brother. He said, man, I had to stop and pull over. And it was like a couple of little sounds in there that just sort of take the track to the sort of higher level. Yep. And that's when I kind of knew, like, okay, wait, we got something good. And then back to the studio part was when I hear Matthew singing my lyrics. I'm like, yo man, that's a good feeling. This is pretty cool. So when it was all said and done, I think because that's been a big challenge for me, is to get to the place where I can collaborate with other artists, other musicians. So I think this is a great example of that, and a good reflection of how God means for us to live in society. We should be doing that together. So any last thoughts you would like to share? We're gonna kind of wrap it up. I think this is a really cool project. I'm looking forward to doing a lot more of these. But if you would like to share any kind of final thoughts, we can get out of y'all's hair. So
no man, I think you hit it all on the head. Again, I'm so grateful to be a part of such a powerful track. Hopefully, in the words of King James, hopefully I made a few proud. Yeah. Even though you and Matthew did most of the heavy lifting, hopefully I made a few proud.
Yeah. Well, I can say this, man. I think when we went to into the studio, I can remember being a little bit uneasy, because this is my first time having someone sing, and then he's a kid, so his dad is there. So I'm like, oh, wait, that was dead. So we're like, oh man, I don't want this to be like up in the mix.
Joe Jackson.
Yeah, right. So I can remember though feeling like this sort of calm, this sort of peace. And this is just me, maybe I'm being deep, but I think that was a little bit of spirit of my nephew being there, because he's one of the most chill dudes I ever met. And that thing went over just seamlessly, man. I think we were in and out of there within an hour, or maybe an hour 15. But I think you set the bar really high in delivering your verse, so that kind of gave Matthew okay, this is what I'm able to do. And of course I get in there and I start trying to write heads and parts, write the lyrics and all that. But it was a fun project, man. I hope everybody gets a chance to really listen to this. This is one of those songs you can just listen to it over and over. You're guaranteed to hear something new just about every time. Share it, or not. Just keep it to yourself. Sometimes there are tracks and certain artists that you just keep it for yourself. But either way, hope this does some good for everybody. Be on the lookout for more amazing tracks. But before we go, let's make sure we hear from the youngsters of the group, starting with Matthew. What you got for us?
Going into the recording studio for the first time was an amazing experience. I could feel the presence of God in the recording booth. When people hear this song, I would like for and hope that people of all ages, in particular young people in my age group, could hear the call of God in the message.
And last, but certainly not least, let's have Jaden share your thoughts and go ahead and close us out.
I hope that when people hear our song, they find it uplifting and they get inspired to lean on the Spirit of God, especially when they're dealing with hard times. And I hope it inspires young people like us and shows them that we love God just like them.